So my wife and her friend went out drinking on Friday night, and she didn't come home till 4 in the morning, which had me worried sick. When she finally came home, she was very drunk and was almost being dragged by her friend. The friend had a guilty look on her face and asked me to be patient while listening to her account. I was, of course, alarmed. What account? The friend left saying it's better if my wife told me. My wife was obviously out at this point, so I also went to sleep. At around 11 a.m., I am woken up by my wife crying and saying she has committed a horrible mistake. And she is very sorry. She was hysterical at this point and I had to calm her down. And finally, after calming down, she told me that she had gotten so drunk last night that she hooked up with a stranger. I was shocked, as you may imagine. So I pressed for details and she said that they had met two guys while drinking and they were buying them rounds. At first she says that she turned the drinks down, but when her friend expressed an interest in one of them, they went to talk and accepted drinks from them. My wife was given the responsibility of keeping the friend of the guy busy while her friend talked to the guy. Eventually, after some time and a lot of drinks later, they went to the guy's home and this is where she had sex with him. My wife says that she went there just to make sure her friend is safe and she had no ulterior motive. She did admit to some harmless flirting with the guy but said it didn't mean anything. Sure. She was adamant that she didn't want to have sex with the guy. Then I said maybe you were forced. Let's try to find out who the guy was first. I asked for more details, but she again said she didn't remember. So I went to pub in the evening and asked around, and luckily the guy my wife's friend hooked up with was there that night too. I talked to him and he painted a completely different picture of the night. He said he and his friend were very clear with both my wife and her friend from the start that they were looking to hook up, and my wife or her friend never raised any objection. He also said my wife absolutely knew what was going to happen once they went back to the house. I didn't get to meet the other Macon guy who hooked up with my wife, but I did talk to him on the phone, and he also said the same thing. Both women knew exactly what the deal was, and they still went to his house. I did get heated with him, but he insisted he didn't force anyone. He was as drunk as she, and it was completely mutual right from the moment they started talking in the bar. He said I could check the security footage to see how my wife and her friend were acting on that night. I tried, but they wouldn't show me the footage without a police report. I don't know what to think here. My wife insists it's not the case, but did admit to flirting with him. Those guys insist it was mutual. My wife doesn't want to file any case against them, and I am at a loss. Only one thing is clear to me. My wife put her friend's sexual life ahead of our married life. Otherwise, why go to a stranger's house after midnight? That is clear to me even if everything else is a mystery. Any advice on how to move forward? Throw away for obvious reasons. Not really sure how to start this off, but yeah, I just found out Sunday night and confronted her Monday morning. Just need people to talk to, I guess. We've been together for roughly 2.5 years. We've had disagreements in the past, but we have never once legit argued with each other. I've done the whole yelling match thing in a past relationship, and that doesn't solve anything. She's a genuinely nice and very sweet person, but this just cues my entire perspective of her. Up until roughly 6 months ago, our relationship was great. We communicated well, our sex life was very good, and then the sex was pretty much non-existent. Up until this point, we've had a few serious discussions trying to figure out what was wrong to get back on track. My issue during these discussions was always the lack of intimacy or feeling wanted. It was pretty straightforward. When it came to her issues, she said that we moved in together too quickly. She's never lived alone, always had roommates, and she needed space. I was fine with that. Mistakes happen, maybe it was too quick for her. We've been looking for the past couple months to try and get her an apartment that she could afford on her own. But in that time, my intimacy issues still didn't see any progress. She works in a group home, and because of COVID and other staff getting sick or awaiting test results, she's been getting more than 70 hours per week. I want to know that I hate creeping on people's phones or other devices, and I value trust or privacy greatly in a relationship, but I just started getting suspicious. And while Sunday night, my suspicions got the better of me, and I logged onto her laptop while she was at work. Fucking obviously, I see some damning conversation dating a while back. Then I managed to log into her Instagram and found very recent conversation to the same person. When I confronted her, she didn't deny anything that I found and admitted that quite a few times when she got overnight shifts wasn't actually going to work. She didn't really give me an excuse, but basically said when we first met, that's when she had reached her goal weight. And then when she started her new job a couple months prior to when the cheating first started, she started getting a lot of attention from the men that worked there. I get that. Validation is not from attractive dudes if you're not used to it, but it's not an excuse to just go fuck somebody because he calls you hot a few times. The confrontation was pretty brief. At the end, I basically gave her a free pass to end the relationship, but she wanted to work through it. I just told her to leave and stay with her mom, so I didn't lose it on her and I could have time to think. Monday night, she sent me a long text apologizing profusely about hurting me, betraying my trust, etc. I responded yesterday basically pointing out how fucked it was that she's been letting this go on for so long and that I had to find out myself instead of her coming to me. I added that it was fucked up that she knew my issues with the relationship and that she was lying about needing space to cover the fact that she was cheating. I ended up asking her why our sex life took a nosedive, and she said it was because she felt extremely guilty and wouldn't do anything with me until she told me, and the anxiety and depression kept her from speaking up. I then asked her if she had feelings for the guy that she had been seeing. She said no. There were a few more texts from her apologizing and all that, but you're basically caught up to today and right now. Always thought I'd be able to end a relationship if I got cheated on, but I love her to death and she fucked up. I want to give her a second chance, and I know I won't be able to hold it over her head if I decide to forgive her. I just don't know how to forgive her. Sorry, kind of a long post, but I don't have many people to talk to about this.